I live in Elmer, Ontario. I currently work as an engineer in training for a small engineer firm that works specifically in the civil form of engineering. So infrastructure, sewage, that kind of information. I mean, that kind of work. It's not everybody's dream job, but I don't mind it. So this one's a little tough on my memory sometimes. I did start working at 2012, and that was as a basic camp counselor. That's the only job I actually did, was just straight camp counseling, and I honestly loved it. Then I came back for the year previous, or not previous, afterwards for 2013. Same thing, just a basic camp counselor with some programming involvement. 2014 as well, that was more programming with also being camp counselor and doing some one-on-one, very limited. But then I also came back for 2015, which I took a role as the camp medic, as well as CIT coordinator for that year as well. Then I took a year off while I pursued a engineering internship at the City of St. Thomas, and came back for the year afterwards to continue being medic for 2017. And I've been trying to volunteer every single year afterwards, as long as Joe lets me. One word that would describe it. That's a very tough question. Impacting. To describe it further, if I have permission to do so, impacting in the sense that I had a very different life before I came to Pearce Williams. It was just going to be another summer job, because I worked as a field hand for the previous 2 summers because I was just a teenager trying to make money. Got sick of that. Mother said I had to continue getting a job or else I couldn't sit around the house all day. And so she looked in the papers, found the job, applied me, and I got an interview, got the job, and was thrown into Pearce Williams. And I'm still thankful to this day that she forced me to go and get another summer job, because if she hadn't, I wouldn't be the person I am today, know the extended family that I know through camp, and have gone through the experiences that have helped me learn the things that I needed to, that helped me further on in life. So it's really been an impactful thing to have been through camp, especially for the many years that I did. And I feel very blessed to have done so, and lucky, because I had no attachments to camp beforehand, and somehow I ended up there. So I'm very thankful. So I might cheat it a bit and say 2 of them, but I'm going to do it in a way that I think gets me through, a loophole per se. Favorite campfire song has to be Pizza Man. And I think everybody who's ever worked with me might know that, just because I love singing it, and I love the person who taught it to me, which is why it holds such a great place in my heart. That, and my favorite chapel song is Little by Little, just because I love the amount of actions that go with it, and it's super ridiculous and fun to just be a part of and enjoy. Well, I guess I'll go very quickly through the young years. I grew up in Sparta, Ontario with my parents, and I went through school as everybody else does. I did very few jobs other than mowing lawn for my parents, and eventually the only other job I got outside of the family was doing, like I said, field work earlier, which I eventually got sick and tired of because my boss was terrible, and it was terrible labor because it was super tiring, and I decided I didn't want to do it. Then that got me to camp, where I discovered a lot more different things about myself, as well as leadership qualities that I really didn't think that I had, mainly because they were developed at camp, not actually that I had them before. And through that really helped me in terms of college, because I had decided that since I'm great at math and science, let's go and do engineering like everybody else who's good at those things. And the first couple of years were very tough, as I was going to school in the US, pretty far away from home. That was tough, let alone the fact that the classes were tough. The situations were different than high school. Everything was serious. You had to do everything on your own. But the diligence that I learned at camp, and the ability to be away from home for a week from camp has helped me get used to that life. And from there, I eventually graduated. Luckily, when I graduated and I came back home, it was a little tough finding a job. So camp opened their doors again and allowed me to work there for another summer while I was looking for another job. And I'm glad that I had that because I got to have a nice little victory lap of camp, which was just amazing to go away from it and come back to that community. It really showed me what I had been missing for a summer because I went away from it and I came back. And then it also allowed me that chance to have that little intermediate area to go and find a job while still getting pay. And it was amazing to have that community just welcome me back with open arms, the new faces and the old ones. But from there, I was able to leapfrog into engineering, which was fantastic. I've been working at the same company I have been ever since I've started. And I'm very thankful that I've been blessed to have the position that I do. And I'm very thankful that some of those leadership things that I was forced to develop at camp have helped me to continue my career and to make good connections with my new teammates that are in a more professional manner. Well, camp's still professional, just a different type of professional. But that silliness also kind of helps me get through a day. If it's really boring and dragging, I just sing a couple songs in my head because I know them. And silliness and goofiness sometimes gets you through serious situations sometimes. But I've been working at the same place for 3 years now, which I've been very blessed to. And the company has been helping me develop new skills, which I'm very happy about. And thanks to my job, I finally have a house and I have a little puppy now. So everything seems to be going great, other than the fact that COVID's happening. But don't worry, we will get through this. My best memory at Pearce Williams. I'm going to give a very general answer, but I might specify it slightly as I describe it. I do enjoy coming back to camp after I had been gone, but the best memories that I have at camp have to be 2015, the year that I was CIT coordinator. It was a very busy year. I had a lot of new responsibilities, and it was very tough. But the one thing that helped me get through all of those situations where I just felt like overwhelmed was all the people that were surrounding me, but also the fact of just seeing the CITs, the people who I was trying to teach, grasp the things that I was trying to teach them, learn from the other people, and just seeing them grow from campers to potential staff the next year was one of the most rewarding things that I've ever experienced at camp. And to be honest, the end of the year party of that year, where all the staff have this final get together, where they get to say their goodbyes, enjoy, share memories. When I was able to sit there and watch every single one of those CITs be integrated into this family, where they had new friends that were also CITs or 3-year counselors, all these different people that were their idols, and they've now been assimilated into that group. It was very rewarding to see. And I felt very emotionally overwhelmed because I don't know what it's like to have kids, but I imagine that that's kind of what it feels like to watch people go from one spot and help them develop to where it is at the end. And I'm just thankful for that opportunity. I know that many of them have moved on from camp now, but I hope that they still remember the memories that we shared together and the things that they learned, because I definitely had a very great year because of them, and I hope that they did because of me. So one thing that I might have touched on already was just talking about the dynamic of the people that you work with. I've learned a lot of different things at camp, from leadership skills to many other things, but one thing that has really helped me in the near future here in the career that I'm in is learning how to work with other people. Camp, you are required to work with so many different types of people, and it over such a long period of time that it's pretty easy to get connections and sometimes to butt heads, which can happen in everybody's workday and life. So having those different experiences and having the training from the other leaders that were there when I was learning from them and all the situations that I went through there, it really helped me to learn what kind of dynamics you need to have in a team. Not to mention that being at Pearce Williams, the team there is like a family, and I've never quite felt as close to my current coworkers as I did at camp, but it's nicer to know that because I made those close connections with people at camp and because that team was treated like a family, I can try and bring those things back into the new team that I'm in. And maybe not to the same extreme where we're all hugging and sobbing at the end of the year, like, oh, we finished the engineering project, the sewer system's finished. But at least I can try and provide helpful advice to other coworkers, and it's not just me sticking my head down doing my work. We're all in this together because camp was one whole system. If we all succeed, we all succeed. But if one of us fails and nobody tries to bring them back up into the group, then we all fail. And that's something that I always took forward with me into my career, because we really are one whole entity trying to complete one job. And if you just think it's you inside your career, then you're already setting yourself up for failure, because nobody else is going to help you when you're down because you didn't help them. And it's really just that whole mindset has really helped me. And I'm glad that I had the camp experience to help me have that mindset. And it's one thing that I take with me every single day. So the best advice I've ever received, there's been plenty of good advice that I've received at camp, but I would be wrong to say anything other than the advice I've received from my mother, because she's given me plenty of great advice over my lifetime. But one thing she kept drilling into my head because of who I am was the best piece of advice I've ever taken from her. And it was that, basically, to summarize it, that worry happens a lot in life, and I'm a huge worrier when I was younger, and still am today. But my mother used to try and tell me that worry is necessary in life. So much like plants need water, worry is necessary. But if there's not enough worry, things can go pretty wrong. You can be pretty careless, and just like with plants, if you don't give it enough water, it will die because it will wilt and die. But the opposite is also true. If you overwater things, it will drown. So if you worry too much, you're not going to be able to actually do the things that you need to do that you're worried about, because you're just caught up in worrying. And that's one thing that I did a lot. And so my mother's advice on trying to balance that teeter-totter to be efficient in worrying was one of the best things of advice that I could have gotten from somebody, which was worry. But sometimes the things that you can't control, you just shouldn't worry about, because they're not yours to do so. Well, because I'm a bit of a nerd, one of the books that I'm reading currently is I'm reading the book Origins. It's basically just a book about scientific discoveries, how the world began, basic looks into how that kind of stuff can be weaved into a Christian mindset. And that's kind of what I'm reading, just because I love science, and sometimes those things clash together. And so it's nice to hear some opinions where they kind of work together rather than just having them separate from each other. That's the book I'm reading. In terms of things people should check out, is I love folk music. So go ahead and listen to Need to Breathe, which I'm sure plenty of people who are around ISCUS this time already know to do so. But they're great bands, as well as Wren Collective and Ben Rector are the three people that I've got rotating on my work playlist right now. Just nice acoustic music, feel good, and easy to sing to in the car, which is why I listen to it on my commute. The two people that I'd like to nominate to answer these questions are Tiffany Birdie Tremaine and Katie Clover Fauché. Yes, actually, there is. One thing, which I don't know quite how I spread this information to the people I'd like to target, but if any of you guys have friends, or if you're the demographic to work at camp, or if you have friends that never got to experience it, that you're now alumni and you regularly volunteer, or you're thinking about volunteer, invite the person who's never been to camp before. Because me being somebody who had never been to camp, even as a kid, once, and then decided to work there, or forced to work there, I can't say that I had a better thing happen to me without me even wanting it to happen. So sometimes you have to drag those friends kicking and screaming to become camp counselors at camp, because they might not realize that a life-changing experience is going to happen there until you actually bring them there. And by doing so, you can help cultivate camp in many different areas, as well as help other people who might need more help learning different skills that they haven't learned yet by coming to camp. Well, definitely people should support Pearce Williams because they need the support more than ever right now, seeing as COVID is going on and everybody does need support, so does camp. It's important that we show support for the things that we love. I am currently showing my support to camp because I love camp. I think it's important that we continue to show the support because we want camp to stay around. We want this cultivating ground for exploration, learning, discovery for kids and campers to continue. Because I've seen so many campers come through camp and leave completely different, whether it be just for 1 week or summers on end over years to eventually where they were starting to do the exact same thing for campers later that they were. And it's something that I have such a passion for, that I support. And I support it so passionately because I really hope that one day when I do have kids, I can send them to Pearce Williams. Because if they can have the experience that I've seen so many campers go through that I helped give them, then I can know that they'll grow up to be pretty much the best that they can, because camp really tries to foster kids to be the best that they possibly can. And I really hope that camp can be around for long enough for my own kids, when I have them, to experience it as well.
Yeah!